Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zollo. It is week 7 of the NFL season. It's Cooper Kupp week. There are so many injuries. There are so many bye weeks. I am playing my buddy in a league. He said 5 of his top 10 players are just out because they're injured or they're on a bye. This is a mess of a week ahead of us. We are here to help you navigate it. I'm looking at the news and notes. It is almost a full page long of just injuries. This is insane. We will break it down for you over the next hour. Let's get into it. Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zollo. Once again, Joshua and Ryan. Hello, gentlemen. How are we?
Wishing I was better at redraft because apparently I suck at it. I keep drafting players that get hurt.
Well, I started 2 of the top 3 receivers from the previous week and the Raiders defense.
Oh.
And lost.
Oh.
Yep. So I was the 3rd highest scoring team in the league, lost to the 2nd highest scoring team in the league, and I lost by 4 points. Shout out Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Rough week.
I had one dynasty league where I finished 2nd in points and lost by 5, so that was fun.
Yeah, those weeks suck. Those are usually literally. I would have beaten everybody else by 20. I'm like.
That's when I just want to scream, can we get median scoring already?
It makes me, God, so angry. But what makes me angrier? Well, a lot of things, but there's, I think, 20 bullet points of news and notes. Just a rough guess, ladies and gentlemen.
When I went in and did the show sheet earlier today, there were no news and notes. And I was like, you know what? Let me try to take something off of Josh's plate. Nope. Josh's plate is a full fucking buffet, and have at it, Joe.
Yeah, I was filling it in on my lunch break like I try to do nowadays. I was filling in my upside downsides, and there was nothing in there. And then I open it like I do 20 minutes before the show.
I had some time because I'm still waiting on people to send me notes for what they need for graphics this week.
Yeah.
Fucking insane. But here we go. Anthony Richardson on IR. He's officially getting season-ending surgery. Better for him in the long run.
100%.
Indianapolis is doing nothing this year.
Here's the thing, though. Is it better for him in the long run? Because look, he's hurt. I get it. But not being on the field, usually when these guys head to IR, they're not around the team at all.
Yeah. The thing
Look
for
at
me
Trey
is,
Lance. That's all I'm going to say.
That's not a bad point. The one thing...
We've seen more looks better than Trey Lance. Let's get that
words out of my mouth. But what I will say is, I think Josh, you kind of brought it up on one of our Monday shows. Is he made of glass? I think an extra year with an NFL strength and conditioning probably not the worst thing for him. So.
He's a big boy too. I think he just got to drink some more milk.
Learn how to slide first and foremost. So.
Yeah, he's a big boy. He went to a real school, so Trey Lance didn't. So that's. I'm not SEC. North Dakota State against Montana State. Yeah, who's better? I'm not an Anthony Richardson passing fan, but he's looked worlds better than Trey Lance ever was. Kyren Williams ruled out for week 7. Ronnie Rivers placed on IR, so that means Royce Freeman has been promoted to the active roster. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. They added Darrell Henderson to the practice squad. It is looking like a split backfield between Royce Freeman and Zach Evans at the current moment. Not one would say the greatest matchup against the Steelers, but that is going to be your backfield going into yet again another road game, despite it saying that the Rams are the home team. Another road game for a Los Angeles-based team. Jalen Ramsey returns to practice Wednesday. He's ahead of schedule, it's looking like, so Miami's defense will just have another guy that can get torched. Pittsburgh's wide receiver Deontay Johnson likely to be activated from the IR, so he should be active Sunday for the Rams. If not, he'll be definitely good to go week 8. The Panthers are changing play call. Obviously. The Panthers are changing play callers. Offensive coordinator Thomas Brown takes over the play calling from Frank Reich. It's almost like the offensive coordinator should call the plays. because that's what they're hired to do.
He let Brown call the plays in 1 or 2, and I think it was 2 preseason games. So this was something I felt like they were toying with.
What the fuck is this move? Philadelphia signs Julio Jones.
Josh, so funny. The moment this happened, I get a text from Kira, and she's like, "You have no idea how many times I went through on Madden and made this trade happen previous to this year."
It doesn't matter.
No.
He's going to die from a busted hamstring.
He's replacing Kes Watkins. So, that's the level of talent he's at.
Well, and Devonta Smith is dealing with a hamstring injury too. So, we needed some depth at wide receiver. But
there's nothing denying Julio Jones' hands. Those have not gone anywhere. They are still here. They are still well
attached to his.
It is the other 95% of his body that is not doing well, specifically below the waist. That is a big portion of Julio Jones's game that he no longer has. Devonta Smith did not practice on Wednesday due to a hamstring injury. Arizona.
That's why they brought Julio in. He can guide him through this.
Yeah. They're like, Julio, you don't have hamstrings. Looks like now they're just Devonta, so you guys can bond over that. Arizona officially opens practice windows for Budda Baker and Kyler Murray. Kyler was officially activated off the pup. Detroit running backs, David Montgomery and Craig Reynolds did not practice on Wednesday. Montgomery with the ribs, Craig Reynolds with a hamstring injury. These hamstrings, baby. Craig Reynolds should be okay. That man's an absolute dog. Pancake block. Deshaun Watson not practicing Wednesday, calls himself day-to-day. Who fucking needs him? Who needs him?
The Browns have got so much egg on their face right now because we are now talking about 2 games missed when the rumors were he could have played 2 weeks ago, and he is still calling himself day-to-day. Something's going on here.
Because he's a bitch.
He got paid.
Yeah, got paid. Justin Fields, I skipped a couple, my bad, but he has a dislocated thumb, did not practice Wednesday. He's currently doubtful. Odds are he's not going to play against Vegas. It's mostly looking like he will play.
Yeah, I think they said the biggest issue, he just needs to they need to figure out if he can grip the football.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And if it wasn't his throwing hand, I guarantee you this is not even an issue. He would play. He just needs grip strength. So good news for Justin Fields managers. It's just literally waiting on grip strength. Tyson Bagent most likely in line to get the start, backed up by the God, the GOAT, the man himself, Nathan fucking Peterman.
Mr. Intercontinental.
Am I rooting for Tyson Bagent to have a minor injury so we can see a full game of Nathan Peterman against, wait for it, Brian Hoyer?
Yeah.
Yes, I am. You bet your ass I am. I'm so excited. I was this close to putting Brian Hoyer.
I don't need XFL games in the fall. That's what the spring is for.
Hey, shut the fuck up. Brian Hoyer looked better than Mac Jones. Let's get that straight.
If Peterman beats the Raiders, somewhere John Gruden is smiling ear to
ear. So much. Daniel Jones cleared to throw due to his neck injury. Did not practice Wednesday. Roshan Johnson still in concussion protocol. Josh Allen dealing with a right shoulder injury. Claims there's no concern. They could play their 5th-string JV quarterback on Buffalo's high school team, and they would beat the Patriots this week, so it doesn't even matter. The Jets trade Mecole Hardman, rip, to Kansas City for some late-round picks. Rip. Dang, that's tough.
He's back.
Mecole, welcome back to the squad. I mean, realistically, he's the wide receiver 1 on the fucking team. So.
I was just gonna say, when I moved him for my projections model, I didn't even know where to put him. I'm like, what the fuck?
Top 20 this week. He's playing the Chargers, right? Jaguars rule out Zay Jones for tomorrow night. Trevor Lawrence remains questionable with his knee. Who is the backup in Jacksonville? I yet to look that up.
Beathard.
Okay, not a bad backup. He's serviceable. New Orleans is down to 3 offensive linemen and Juwan Johnson tomorrow night against the Jaguars.
Taysom Hill show.
I'm going to tell you right now, this is
I literally threw him in my QB2 spot in 1 week.
I did the FanDuel free deposit, do the free $5 bet and get the 200 in free bets. This line for Jacksonville, New Orleans is fucking confusing because Jacksonville's the way better team, but they're plus 1.5 because Lawrence is questionable. New Orleans is favored by 1.5 points. It's almost a pick 'em. Let's get this straight. It's almost a pick 'em, but it's a very strange line. Just throwing that out there for you bettors. Commissioner Roger Goodell gets a 3-year extension through 2027. So Jerry Jones still has the stick up Goodell's ass. That's good to know. We will get to some questions before we go into the upsides here from Priceless Pigeon, spelled incorrectly. Just traded Josh Downs and Jonnu Smith for, yeah, you won. You didn't even have, what more are we talking about here?
20-man league.
I was going to say, anytime you do a 2-for-1 and a 20-man, it feels kind of like, walking on eggshells a little bit because of the depth purposes, but
it's a tight end.
You're getting the better player.
So you upgraded.
And upgraded hard.
And it's your flex you're upgrading, which means you clearly have better players at the other positions where Jakobi Meyers is in a flex play in a 12-man league. Jakobi Meyers is your wide receiver too. Let's get straight here.
Yeah. Also, fuck you, Jakobi Meyers, for only being the wide receiver 14 on the week. All right, you dick. It needs you to be a lot higher than that. Gabe, Justin Fields hurt, already lost Justin Jefferson and Nick Chubb. I don't need to read your question. I would just give up. So
no, don't do that. We like Gabe.
No, I like Gabe too. And Gabe, I'm like respectively.
Give up.
Call it a yeah.
God damn, man, that was rough.
The only thing consistent on his team is the Browns defense. Top quarterbacks available are Geno, Deshaun, Jared Goff, Sam Howell, Baker. What do? You go get Jared Goff because he's insane right now. And
honestly, Goff has a rough matchup
this
week.
Geno this week, but
Geno's a good matchup. Sam Howell,
I like Sam Howell,
feasting right now. 25 points per game in his last 4 games. You might hear that stat again later on in the show.
I like Sam Howell a lot. Also, can the Browns defense finally get some fucking respect? Look, hey, they're good. 100%. They are definitely good. It's just the Browns, dude. There's just something about them. Like at any point, they could just not exist or be good.
Yeah.
It's the Browns.
The offense, the two things working against the Browns are their own offense and the fact that we were giving them respect and then they got burned by the Ravens, and a lot of fantasy managers got burned giving the Browns respect in that matchup. So
there you go. And first one from Elixirs before we get into our upsides. Bench one standard. I was very confused. STD league. He has Jordan Love at quarterback. Same dude. I need to simply off of injuries. Puka, Chris Olave, DJ Moore, Christian Watson. He's just asking to bench one of them. Nacua down week for the first time in his career, basically.
Still 7 targets.
Yep, still a good week. Olave short week. DJ Moore does not have Justin Fields, but ironically had a better time with Tyson Bagent in the lineup than Justin Fields. Right. And Christian Watson and the Packers still don't know what football is. So, Ryan.
I'm trying to see what Jacksonville gives up to wide receivers. They're pretty bad.
They're like middle of the road, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they're closer to the top than the middle. It's actually pretty crazy. Probably 10th. I don't have the balls to sit anybody on this list except for Watson. He just hasn't shown me yet. I'll sit Christian Watson I love Jordan Love this week, and I think he eats. But I would sit Christian Watson. To
throw out there, he'll probably get Pat Surtain.
There you go.
So, Josh?
Yeah, I would sit Watson of this group. Nacua, great matchup. DJ Moore, right now, you're not sitting him. I personally don't care who his quarterback is.
They're going to get DJ Moore involved because of the backup quarterback.
100%.
You have to.
And we've seen what he can do in a short field.
Guys, the Patriots scored a touchdown against the Raiders. Just get that through your head.
Clearly the worst defense in the entire world.
They went 30 drives without scoring a touchdown or entering the red zone. They did that twice against the Raiders. Think about that. Josh, sorry.
No, yeah, I'm sitting Watson. He's the least consistent of this group. I mean, there's a real chance that he could go off.
Pop.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's going to pop one day, sure. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be on your bench if these are the 4 guys you're starting. But, I mean, there's no way you're benching Nacua, especially in a good matchup. Olave is still the number 1 option in this passing offense.
I'm getting worried about Olave.
I think it's mostly Derek Carr and just it all around.
Not Olave as a person. Olave as a fantasy asset.
Olave's open and is good. Just everything around him is terrible. Yeah. So, and Derek Carr's like being a little bitch now. He's just dumping, or it's a fucking chuck to Rashid Shaheed. So, which dog. First off,
Like,
we
cost me a downside the last week.
this is a pro Rashid Shaheed show.
Oh, very much so.
Very pro Rashid Shaheed show. All right, upside. Speaking of Puka Nacua, his opposite, his better half, one might say. Cooper Kupp, the wide receiver 1 on the week, the wide receiver 1 against Pittsburgh. That is Josh's first upside. Javonte Williams, top 15 against Green Bay. And Geno Smith enters the top 5 for the first time this season, I believe, against Arizona. I mean, calling somebody the wide receiver 1 is always the talking point here.
Yeah.
When you're seeing Patrick Peterson and basically ghosts in the secondary, it's a pretty easy week ahead. So in sunny California, Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, going against Pittsburgh, we know how much they give up to wide receivers. 4th most fantasy points per game. On average, per game to wide receivers, they allow almost 15 receptions, 204 receiving yards, and over 1 receiving touchdown. So there's plenty for both Nacua and Kupp to eat in this matchup. But the most alarming part of this, they allow almost 30 fantasy points per game out of the slot. And Cooper Kupp runs over 50% of his routes in the slot. And in those 2 games this year that he has played, the last 2 weeks, he is tied for 4th in the league in targets and receptions, 4th in yards, 6th in yards per reception with a minimum of 10 targets, and is 5th in fantasy points per game among wide receivers.
I was going to say,
this is set up for him to explode.
You mentioned that they allow 30 points to the slot. Kupp is averaging 23 points per game in 2 games.
And to go back to the last game Pittsburgh played against Baltimore, Zay Flowers should have had 1,000,000 points if 1, he didn't drop a couple passes, and 2, if Lamar hit him in the chest. So, Baltimore should have ran away with that game. Pittsburgh got lucky on defense a lot. And Matt Canada, I guess somebody stole that play from him, and he was upset that George Pickens scored on that touchdown. So, Ryan Jordan Love, top 3. Holy shit!
I had to up Josh's Geno Smith. I wasn't going to take it lying down.
Well, I don't like that because I don't trust you, and I have to.
I would like to point out that I am first place currently in upsides
by 1 fucking win. Don't sit there and act
not even by half a win.
First place. Top
you're
10
not
ranker,
you're not the 70s Dolphins.
Top 10 ranker for us last week. First place in upside. Coming up, all Ryan Jordan Love.
Do you like the Texans in the AFC South? Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Just call the AFC South.
Yeah. Marquise Brown, 20 fantasy points against Seattle, and the 2 touchdown special. The only guy to convert it this year.
Gotta go back to my guy.
Gotta go back to the guy because Ryan is 1 in 5 on the year so far, but that 1 win goes to Kenneth Walker, and he picks him again against Arizona. Why do you like that?
Well, the Cardinals are giving up 3rd most points to running backs this season, and you have a game where Josh has already, kind of alluded to this. We think Geno Smith, we think the Seahawks in general are going to have a good game, and that's going to lend itself to another good Kenneth Walker game. And I don't know if people realize how good Kenneth Walker has been this season. He is finding the end zone. It's overshadowed by what Raheem Mostert and Christian McCaffrey have done. 6 touchdowns in 5 games for Kenneth Walker, over 4 yards per carry. He's still not involved in the passing game, plain and simple. That's an issue that we might as well just get used to. This isn't a Zach Charbonnet thing. This is they don't throw the ball to their running back thing. But they've actually given up a running back touchdown in every game, they being the Arizona Cardinals, in every game but 1. And then they, of course, gave up 4 touchdowns to Christian McCaffrey. You like picking on teams that give up multiple touchdowns when you're looking at running back. There was never a chance you're not going to start Kenneth Walker this week, but I think he's a nice DFS play as well.
There you go. My picks, George Kittle, top 5 against Minnesota. I don't know. Debo's out.
Yeah.
Fuck it. He's good. There might be 2 less targets in that. It might be. He might be the number 2. So why not?
What I find interesting is that they seem pretty sure Christian McCaffrey is going to play, and everybody's latching onto that. You're going to play him in the first quarter. That game's going to be out of hand at halftime.
Jordan Mason, Pro Football Focus's number 2 running back.
That's right. I
last
forgot
year.
all about. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Hey, also, Pro Football Focus's number 2 wide receiver from the year 2020, Deontay Hardy, finds the end zone on Monday Night Football. Oh my goodness.
What they're talking about.
The real talking points, though. George Pickens, top 12 against the Rams. That is just a battle of piss poor defenses in that one.
Yeah.
And excluding Aaron Donald. Let's get that out of the way. Excluding Aaron Donald, everybody else in that defense is poo-poo. Josh Palmer, top 18 against Kansas City.
I like this.
All right.
I like the stats you found here on the missed yardage or missed.
Well, I was watching the game, and in the first touchdown, I was like, oh my God, look at what Josh Palmer just did. Like, he made that touchdown happen. That call that got negated back, and I was like, this motherfucker. I was like, he will never get his respect because of all this shit. There were 3 catches he had negated by penalties. Those 3 catches would have given him more points than the recorded statistics that he actually had in the game. That's insane. If all those counted, 7 for 111 yards in a touchdown. What are we doing? Quentin Johnston. Remember him? I don't. 2 targets, 0 receptions. The one target he had was on the piss poor throw from Herbert for the game sealing interception. Justin Herbert had more receiving yards than Quentin Johnston. You take out Justin Herbert's passing statistics and you play him at receiver, you could multiply Quentin Johnston's points by 1,000,000. Herbert still has more. It's insane.
Dude's getting outplayed by their 7th round rookie Darius Davis right now.
Quentin Johnston is not good. It's almost like we didn't learn this lesson with Jalen Reagor. It's almost like TCU can't fucking produce NFL wide receivers. It's plain and fucking apparent he was a straight line runner. He was going to take over for Mike Williams.
And was giving it on a silver plate.
Literally was like, oh, hey, Mike Williams is hurt. Here you go, Quentin. You're a first round receiver. You know what football is, right? No. I've been saying it since he was drafted. He's irrelevant, and Josh Palmer is the second guy when Mike Williams or Keenan Allen goes down. It's Josh Palmer. And if you haven't watched any Chiefs-Chargers games in Arrowhead in recent history, spoiler alert, the Chargers are good in Arrowhead, and Mike Williams, the wide receiver too, kills in Kansas City. Consistently his best games. When asked in a Hot Ones Wings interview with Sean Evans, he was asked, where is your favorite place to play? What team do you dominate the most? He said, I'm not sure, but if I had to say, I always play well in Kansas City. What do you think that means? That means Kansas City's locked in on Keenan Allen and they don't pay attention to the wide receiver too. Josh Palmer, welcome to the club, my friend. You're going to have a great week.
Let's do it.
Fuck all of you with the Quentin Johnston bullshit. Josh.
I was gonna say you went off on us last week when we thought Dallas was tough against wide receivers, but I mean he had a pretty mediocre game, so I guess maybe we're all right.
Josh Palmer literally had 100 yards despite fucking the offensive line had
he had 60 yards.
The offensive line had 7 penalties in that game.
Yeah.
and timeout. Keenan Allen should have had an 85-yard touchdown if Justin Herbert just what are we doing? Keenan Allen, that was a walk-in touchdown.
Yeah.
A walk-in. So, yeah, Dallas is not very good against the receiver. Justin Herbert was just playing with his eyes closed. And what did the Chargers do, Ryan? They chargered. The Chargers chargered.
That's right.
That's exactly what they did. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The Chargers chargered. Tied for the most losses within 3 points in the last 3 seasons. You want to know who that's under? Brandon Staley. You want to know who should get fired right now? Brandon Staley. You want to know who won't get fired after the season? Brandon Staley. It's insane.
He's got to be skating on thin ice at this point.
You would imagine. You would have to think so. But the fact he hasn't been let go already is insane. Like, they're wasting prime Justin Herbert. They're wasting the last years of Keenan Allen. What are we doing?
Maybe he's really good at putting people in the IR. That's a needed skill for the Los Angeles Chargers.
Doesn't Dak Prescott turn the ball over a lot?
Yeah.
Doesn't he do that? 0 turnovers.
Yep.
Doesn't Dallas get after the quarterback a lot? 1 sack compared to your 4 that you had. statistically, you had a better game than the Cowboys in every respect. Statistically, everywhere outside of rushing, you had a better game. Lose.
Yeah.
That's on coaching. I'm sorry. Like, yes, there were plays to be made, but that's heavily on coaching. Benguin 02. Start 2. Start sit PPR 2. Okay, so we're going 2 receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex.
All right.
Let us start with the receivers. He has a lot of good people on buys. So
Okay.
we'll start with the receivers. JSN, Christian Watson, Chris Olave, Chris Godwin. Ryan.
So we're going just 2 receivers off
2 receivers.
the rip. I'm going to go Olave and Godwin. I'll stay consistent here.
Josh.
Correct. Olave and Godwin.
I would agree with that. Running backs. Josh Jacobs, Jerome Ford, Jonathan Taylor, Rashad White. Ryan.
I'm not going to mess around with that Browns defense. So I'm going to go Jacobs and Ford, and I'll just throw out that I'll put Watson in my flex here. So.
Josh.
Yeah, I'm along those same lines too. I've been kind of waffling on Ford a little bit simply because Kareem Hunt seems to be taking some of that early especially the red zone work. So I think his upside's a little limited there. Who does Tampa Bay have this week?
You cannot tell me you're considering Rashad White.
No, but it's a PPR. It's
Favorite
against
player.
the Falcons.
Yeah, say the Falcons.
They're decent against running
JT's
backs.
just not up to speed yet. That's the only reason he's not like a gimme here. Yeah, I'll go Jacobs and Ford. Watson for the upside and the flex.
I don't like Jonathan Taylor against the Browns, and Josh is right. He's not up to speed. So Jacobs, Ford. I think Christian Watson sees Surtain, and I think that they're going to want to get rid of the big play for Denver. So I'll go JSN. I don't like it.
His snap share has been increasing a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's getting higher.
It's getting higher, but that's also coming with more 11 personnel that they're running too. So
Yeah, I'm going like matchup wise, it's a way better matchup for JSN.
Yeah,
I just think it's really hard to put JSN in a lineup when he literally has not done shit yet.
I was gonna say he's
agreed.
Another one, we said it earlier. He's going to pop, and it's going to be on your bench, and you're going to be mad about it, but at least you have him. So.
Yep. From Derek was just offered Austin Eckler and Hollywood Brown for Travis Kelce and Calvin Ridley's other tight end to Sam Laporta. So it's not a terrible downgrade.
I was about to say, Ryan, this is going to tug at your heartstrings a little bit because you're obviously never trade Kelce. When you got Sam Laporta behind him,
but he's also a running back.
Don't get Austin Eckler, in my opinion.
Yeah, you almost have to. I would just see if they would take Laporta instead.
Josh.
Yeah, it's go get Austin Eckler. If you have Sam Laporta, you don't need to trade. Or excuse me, you don't have to feel bad about trading Travis Kelce. But Ryan, I'm with you. See if you can trade Laporta and hang on to Kelce. So Derek chimes in. He tried. He's dead set on Kelce.
He's dead set on Kelce.
Yeah, I get that.
You're fine.
Mean, you can make that sacrifice. You have a quality top 3 tight end behind Travis Kelce. Go get the impactful running back.
Yep.
You're going to be kicking yourself in the nuts when the Chargers offense just for some reason forgets how to run block, but Austin Eckler will still have 9 catches, so it doesn't matter. Go get Austin Eckler, 100%. Oh, baby. 2 guys we love on this show.
This is a Joe question right here.
Rashid Shaheed. It's easy. Rashid Shaheed or Jakobi Meyers in a PPR, Ryan?
Joe says both. It's Meyers, and I'm not trying to be a dick to Shaheed. It's Meyers, and it's not close for me.
Josh.
100%. It is Meyers, and it is not close.
Meyers, and it is not close against Chicago. Don't be afraid that big bad Brian Hoyer might be his quarterback, but
I don't know why that was so funny to me. Like, don't be afraid.
I still can't get over the fact that Brian Hoyer looked just as good, if not better, than Mac Jones in that game.
I was going to say, which says a lot more about every other quarterback in the game than it does Brian.
Can we also talk about how Jimmy Garoppolo walks off of the field under his own power, like
and then
totally
is
fine?
Transported to the hospital.
Is transported to the hospital for back contusions.
Yeah.
What?
I'm guessing something happened, but
I've fallen and I can't get up. Should have life alert around his neck. Kenny State Shrill traded Mostert for Joe Mixon and Ayuk. I didn't see the Ayuk. I got scared. Good or bad? Full PPR, he's 4-2. Still has Eckler, Bijan, JT, Kupp, T. Higgins, DK, Zay Flowers. Definitely looking for an upgrade at wide receiver. I'm okay with it because
I feel like that's such a downgrade.
I was
Mostert at this point.
I'm
Like
just
he's
like,
RB2
yes.
on the season.
I don't think it's
Point-
selling high enough on Mostert, but I see where you were going for.
Correct.
You should have sold higher on Mostert.
You're gonna feel good when Mostert gets hurt. You're gonna feel great about
Yeah,
this
you're
trade.
gonna
when
feel
Mostert gets hurt.
You're gonna feel so good.
But for the next 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 weeks, you're not going to feel great about this. Me and Josh have been fighting about this on Mondays. I am anti-trading any Dolphin right now. I don't think you can trade a Dolphin. Greatest show on turf, every hyperbole you want. I'm not trading a Miami Dolphin right now. If I'm a contending team.
Yeah. I see what you were doing.
And I love
not-
Brandon Ayuk. It's not a
Yeah.
bad trade.
I'm not mad about it, but you
Joe
definitely
Mixon
could
is
have gotten
just
more.
so mid. Joe Midson.
Ryan,
See what
Ryan,
you did there.
Ryan, go
Dad joke
go
from
back
the
to
dad. I like it.
Okay. Stop taking lines and references from Donovan, please. God.
I am way cooler than Donovan dreams about being.
Mid.
Fuck Donovan.
Please, God. Alex, Josh Jacobs, and Hawkinson for God. Listen, Alex.
I was trying to figure out who this or Johnson is. Am I missing something?
Ty Johnson.
Obviously.
Um,
He did just.
Jawan Johnson. Got to be Jawan Johnson.
Okay, that makes. I'm like, is there a tight end named Johnson? Probably because Juwan hasn't done anything this year. That's why he's not on the top of my mind.
I mean, if you, I mean, so essentially, well, don't do Jacobs and Hawkinson for Bijan.
There's no way this is Jawan Johnson.
Name me another Johnson.
It's a
Well,
mistake.
there's 100 of them, but
it's
like
a mistake in the. It's a mistake in the autocorrect. Is what it is.
There's a million Johnsons. Let's get that straight. That's why we're having a tough time. But the only one that makes sense is Jawan Johnson.
Jawan Johnson is a non-entity in football right now. There's no way this has.
Hey Ryan, name another one.
Let's just start with
Roshan Johnson.
Quentin Johnston.
No, dude, you want to talk about a non-factor?
Oh, I'm talking about. Okay, I thought Derek is answering this question and probably just egging us on to get us even more confused. Derek, you don't need that right now.
It's not Quentin Johnston. It is fucking Jawan Johnson, despite our best judgment. If you can trade Josh Jacobs and an irrelevant tight end for Bijan Robinson, sure.
Do it. 100%.
I would get rid of Hawkinson and Josh Jacobs for Bijan. That's just me.
I would. I don't know. I don't feel like Hawkins.
I feel like Jacobs is getting good enough run though. Deontay Johnson. Holy shit.
We were
There we
way
go.
off.
Well,
Then yes, trade Deontay and Jacobs and get Bijan.
How fucking dare you?
I was surprised he didn't kick you out. In all honesty.
Interestingly enough, Bijan is only
Hold on.
averaging a point
Time out.
more per game than Josh Jacobs.
Time out. Can we talk about the fact that we were arguing over Johnsons and Josh didn't figure out that it was his favorite Johnson?
We're out here.
I
We're
was
out,
associating tight ends in all honesty.
we're out here fucking convinced.
Because in my mind, you never trade Deontay Johnson.
Jawan Johnson.
That's why.
I was
Jawan
just impressed
Johnson.
you brought up Ty Johnson because
I don't even think he's on an NFL roster.
No, he's not.
He is on the Bills practice squad, and they thought they were going to lose him, and that's why they were going to set up the interview with Fournette. And then when they didn't lose him, they canceled the Fournette interview. That all happened this week.
I love that. If you could tell me Bijan Robinson's getting 80% of the snap share, sure. But Arthur Smith, as mentioned when hired, is not a good head coach.
Plus, you got to worry about if the rookie wall is real, where Josh Jacobs is going to improve. Josh Jacobs is only a point behind Bijan right now. I probably don't make this trade regardless. I certainly do not make it for TJ Hawkinson.
It's too close. You're not upgrading like points wise.
It really isn't an upgrade at all.
Yeah, you're not upgrading points wise. I hold on to it. 12-man standard, Tua, Walker, Swift, St. Brown, Ayuk, He's basically asking, does he plug in Olave anywhere or no? So would he be playing Olave over Amon-Ra, Ayuk, or Josh Jacobs?
Not this week.
This week, I would probably say no.
Yeah.
The only guy who could convince me maybe is Josh Jacobs, just because Chicago's defense is still like their front seven is still pretty good. That's the only way you can convince me, and I'm not like Vegas's offensive line isn't great either.
Plus,
And
it's
it's
a
not
standard league.
Yeah, it's non PPR.
Exactly.
With
Yeah.
the running backs.
So there's the only guy who could convince is Josh Jacobs.
I think Olave has 1 touchdown on the year. So
Yes, and it was against New England, I believe.
surprise.
Jeez, God, we suck. We're so bad. Half PPR, 10-man league. Oh my! I love how he split this up. Actually,
Yeah.
Just traded Fields for T. Higgins. His quarterback is hurt. Yeah. What? Yeah. You're never starting Justin Fields over Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
Except
I think you maybe could have gotten somebody better than T. Higgins, but I'm not mad about the trade.
Yeah, the problem is the timing of all of this. If you did it last week, you certainly could have got someone better. But for what you got for now, for Fields, who may not play for a week or two, I think it's a perfect trade.
Fields, I guarantee you, has done nothing for him in his lineup this year because he's never playing Fields over Hurts.
He would never had the balls to start Fields.
Yes.
I'm not taking that as like a shot. I'm just saying, like, why would you?
Yeah, and you're in a 10-team league. When Hurts is on a bye, go pick up a guy. Like there's plenty of guys. Lex, hello. Kyler Murray and drop Howell, Deshaun Watson, Jalen Warren, or Elijah Mitchell in a quarterback.
Drop Elijah Mitchell. Trash. Just absolute trash.
Literally no reason to have Elijah Mitchell.
You can also throw Deshaun Watson out there if you would rather hang on to running backs. But let me be clear. Let me be clear because I'm on the wrong side of this for the first time ever.
I got to turn up my headset real quick.
I believe that Elijah Mitchell is a decent player. However, the 49ers disagree with me. So you're okay to move on at this point. Whereas
I think it just boils down to Elijah Mitchell. Is he available? Because right now he's not. He's just consistently banged up. And that's what's opened the door for Jordan Mason to take that RB2 job.
Josh, you're telling me a 49ers running back is unavailable due to injury.
I know
You're telling me Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., Elijah Mitchell, those guys aren't the epitome of the health system in America? You're telling me that right now?
I mean, technically.
Technically, right? Yeah. The health system in Germany.
Yeah.
But, okay. I'm fine with Deshaun or Elijah Mitchell. Trade Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy, and Jordan Addison for Justin Herbert and T. Higgins, or Herbert and Nico Collins. Ryan, that's actually pretty good. Or I'll throw another one. Or Tua and T. Higgins, or Tua and Nico. So essentially,
he does say it's a 2-quarterback league.
So okay, so he so that's tough. But he just traded Geno and Stafford for Burrow. So essentially he'd either have Herbert in Burrow or Tua in Burrow after
so you can what wide receivers is he getting on Tua?
He would get it's either Higgins or Nico Collins for either of these.
Oh, so I would go
Tua and Nico.
I would have to go Tua at this situation. And because I have Burrow, I would probably go T. Higgins looking for the double points just for shits and giggles. So,
yeah, I like that.
That's fair.
With a 2-quarterback league, obviously you want to start Tua and Burrow at this point. But trading then T-Law and Purdy, you're basically wiping out all of your quarterback depth when you have to start 2 of them.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you're 5-1,
there's definitely a downside to this.
If you're 5-1, I don't know that I make this trade at all. I would really want to know your record at this point. Oh my God, he already has Chase and Tank Dell.
I would honestly get Nico then. You don't need T. Higgins if you already have Chase.
Tank Dell's been a non-factor since the concussion.
If he throws, he's 1-5, so he is the exact.
Okay, go get Tua right now.
Yeah, go get Tua.
Yeah, I don't care what wide receiver you get back.
As many points as possible.
Yeah.
So he's 5-1 the other way.
Yeah. Go get Tua, and these guys will say Nico Collins. Get Nico Collins, but get Tua quickly.
Bronson, if you're dyslexic, you're 5-1. So when you think about it,
If you were homeless, you were home already.
Yeah, that's right. You can't say homeless anymore.
Oh, that's right.
It's too offensive. I forget the exact terminology.
Experiencing homelessness.
No. It's home removed or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I saw Gabriel Iglesias live, and he did like a 10-minute bit about it.
Josh, make sure that's in the chapters.
Great, fantastic. Make sure that's in the fucking what are those things? Subtitles, captions, descriptions, timestamps, all that. Hey guys, I hope you guys are doing great. Not really, but I appreciate the sentiment. I'm a Patriots fan, dude. Not doing well.
I'm fucking terrible, but for the purposes of this conversation.
You know what? As a random person I've never met before, who I appreciate you watching the show. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I honestly just appreciate hey, hope you guys are doing great. How many people jump into a chat or a conversation and lead with that? I love that. It's very polite of you.
And I was polite enough to respond.
To answer.
I was polite enough to respond and say, not well. So
exactly.
He's asking, I imagine Nico Collins for Aaron Jones. Is that a good trade? I don't like it. What the fuck is Green Bay doing?
Well, they're not using Aaron Jones properly.
Yeah.
Depends on team need. Jones is coming off. So. I was going to say he's coming off that injury. If I need running backs, I'm fine with this trade.
Yeah, I mean, I love Aaron Jones this week. Again, if he plays, and hopefully he should. He had 4 weeks, it feels like, to rest up. Nico's just such a better player right now, and he's producing. So
the crazy thing is the yards per catch, almost 19 yards per catch.
It's insane.
But you know what? We've seen stuff like that stay consistent.
Yeah, we saw it from Jalen Waddle last year.
Yeah, we keep saying, regression of the mean, and then it never happens. And it's like, well, who the fuck came up with that?
What happens next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Hence Jalen Waddle.
Nut Money Gang, top tier name. Congratulations. Yeah. That enters the top 5 name for the Hall of Fame on this show. Fun fact, one of our teams that we play against, one of their sponsors is the Nut House. So I clipped that and said score bug is wrong because it was. We were losing 2-0, but it said we were up 2-0, and it was just the Nut House. So obviously, right? Bijan for James Cook and Najee. No.
The Bijan side is the most important thing I can answer to this question.
Najee Harris is irrelevant. This is essentially Bijan for James Cook.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't need Jalen Warren's backup.
Yeah. No, you do not. David Koo, Youngway's brother. Would you trade Ken Walker and Garrett Wilson for Cooper Kupp? Yes.
Get Cooper Kupp. Oh, God. Kenneth Walker's been so...
I was going to say, man, that's hard to give up Kenneth Walker.
So he has Aaron Jones and DeAndre Swift. So obviously losing that. But wouldn't you say having Cooper Kupp essentially gives you the same amount of points that Kenneth Walker and Garrett Wilson has?
You need 23 points per game. Go get Cooper Kupp.
I would try to swap that out and do Swift and Wilson for Kupp. Keep Walker, dude.
If the guy wants to bite on Swift and Wilson, hell yeah. But I don't think he does.
Yeah, like that's what I would do personally. I mean, that is a lot to give up for Cooper Kupp. Like a lot.
Well, it's a lot in Dynasty, but Garrett Wilson is a non-factor this year too.
And I get that side of it, but still,
Cooper Kupp is going to score what these guys will score combined in the week.
I'm with Joe on that one. And David said he doesn't want Garrett Wilson. Or
he doesn't want Swift.
He doesn't want Swift. Okay.
He doesn't want Swift.
Damn it. Shove it down his throat, David. That's what I would say. Do not part with Ken Walker.
Whoa. David, listen to me, right? Okay. I was the one that said not to fucking look at Quentin Johnson, okay? You want to know what Josh did? Quentin Johnson.
Looked at him.
He looked at him, all right? Trust me, David. No, I mean, it is a fair point. You're losing a lot, but I think Cooper Kupp just makes up for what you're losing and then some. So
I'm with Joe on this one.
Yeah. And hey, at this fucking point, everybody's getting injured. So there's going to be a third practice squad string running back that's going to get called up and he'll have 20 points in your fantasy roster.
David, I need you to delete that comment before Joe sees it. Oh,
good fuck, baby. Let's go. Wow. David skyrockets to the favorite listener of all time. Wow, how fast he went up like that.
I was gonna say I didn't know this show was gonna take
it. Was like a teenage boy's pants in puberty. That was so fast. Wow. What do you guys think would be a fair trade for CMC? There's not much. Kelsey?
Top 10 running back, top 10 wide receiver, plain and simple.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you're going to get the person to even sniff at right now. If you're if you're seeing what you can get back, I would want top 5 at both positions. I don't know that I'm trading him. If you're seeing what you can acquire, you're thinking something along the lines of like DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, Tony Pollard. You're hoping that the guy bites on that, and he's probably not going to.
Okay, I'm just I'm following up on Japhets here, and then we'll get to our downsides. I will fly through these. But going back to the question, it was trade Nico Collins for Aaron Jones. Bring up saying the team is stacked. He has Mahomes, Mostert, Eckler, Meyers, Nacua, Laporta, and James Cook in the flex in the Bills defense. And on his bench, Devonta Smith, Breece Hall, Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Joe Burrow, Dalton Schultz in the Bengals defense. So essentially, Nico Collins, I mean, are you ever starting Nico Collins over Meyers, Nacua, Chase, or Devonta Smith?
You're starting him over James Cook. I assume this is PPR. I think you need Nico Collins more than you need Aaron Jones.
Are you ever starting Nico Collins over Chase or Devonta Smith in the flex spot?
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I saw James Cook as flex. And so
yeah,
I didn't even realize.
Because Chase, Breece Hall, and Devonta.
By this
injured.
week. I understand.
Yeah.
Now. Okay. Misunderstood.
You're never. So
you're never playing either of these guys. So go get the running back depth.
Yeah. Go. Aaron Jones has very high upside.
Yeah.
Very high upside. You don't need Nico Collins. Context is everything, folks. That is a good trade. Would you think Laporta and Henry be fair for Bijan? Am I just giving up too much? You're giving up for Bijan? I think that's fine. You can find a tight. I picked up Donald Parham Jr. because I think he catches a fucking touchdown this week.
I say it's a pretty fair trade. Bijan's certainly better than Derrick Henry. You hate to see Laporta go, but I think that's a fair trade. I like Bijan.
Can you go get a running back off the waiver wire any week to potentially score a touchdown? No. Can you go get a tight end any week to potentially score a touchdown? 100%.
Michael Meyers is getting ready to pop, and some people liked him better than Laporta.
Shout out
your roster spot. Go get Michael Mayer.
Shout out Donald Parham.
There you go.
Dog this week. He'll have 2 targets. One of them is bound to be a touchdown. That's all I'm saying. All right. Downsides quickly. Josh, Kirk Cousins outside the top 20 against San Francisco. Michael Pittman outside the top 30 against Cleveland, and Kyle Pitts outside the top 15. That wouldn't have been hot 7 weeks ago, but
right?
Doing pretty well recently. Kirk Cousins, I mean, San Francisco's defense is just good. So,
well, it's good, but again, their corners tend to But the thing is, they're slowing down quarterbacks. They allow the 4th fewest, 215 passing yards per game. But here's the one stat that I thought was really interesting. The San Francisco pass rush has the highest Pro Football Focus grade amongst all team pass rushes.
Wow.
The Minnesota pass blocking grade is 3rd highest in the league. So this is like strength on strength here. Yeah. But without Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins only threw for 181 yards against the Chicago Bears. So Cousins will be tested.
Can you read me who 1 and 2 are?
I can. Give me one.
Because I, a man of very high analytics over here, refuses
pass
to
rush or pass block?
Whatever the fuck the stat was you pulled for the Vikings. Offensive
so the
line.
Highest pass blocking grade amongst teams, 1 is the Detroit Lions.
Fair.
And 2, this is where Joe gets to argue, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Wrong. Just wrong. Like, that's wrong.
Well, considering how well Baker has been doing this year, I don't think it's that far-fetched. Maybe they're not top.
Who's 4 and 5?
2.
Who's 4 and 5? What's the round out the top 5 for?
Packers 4, Eagles 5.
Fucking wrong with the Packers. Are you serious?
Their pass blocking doesn't reflect Jordan Love's completion percentage. That's the difference.
Aiden Hutchinson was sniffing Jordan Love's ass the entire game he was playing against them. What do you mean?
If you're holding your block for within a certain time frame, it's then on the quarterback for not getting rid of it early enough.
People smarter than me actually say that sacks are more of a quarterback stat than an offensive line stat.
It's just ridiculous. All right, now I'd like to know who the top 5 pass rushing, because I believe San Francisco is there because Nick Bosa is pissing me the fuck off.
1, Dallas 2,
Okay, fair. Yep.
Cleveland 3.
Okay.
And then a pretty wide gap, Pittsburgh 4 and Miami 5. And then Eagles 6.
Miami at 5 doesn't sound right, but they can tee off late in games anyway because they have to pass.
That's a good point. They get to pin their ears back.
That's inflated from Miami. Everybody else is right. Everybody else is correct.
Let's be clear. That's all Miami is doing is inflating stats right now. Half the teams in the league who have played Miami look way worse on paper than they actually are because Miami has just beat the hell out of them. So.
See, the pass rush there, that all checks out. Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead. Who was 2? Did you say was 2? Dallas, Micah Parsons, and Diggy Odigba looks fucking insane right now. Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett, Pittsburgh, TJ Watt. That all checks out.
Yeah.
Not to say Jalen Phillips and Christian Wilkins aren't good, but they're not top 5 pass rush in the NFL. That's just an overinflated stat. That's fair. Minnesota can kick rocks. They are not the 3rd best pass blocking offensive line in the NFL. Now,
I will say their offensive line is actually healthy right now.
Josh, here's what I need from you.
Kirk Cousins getting rid of the football fast enough tends to help.
Here's what I need from you. Go to that pass blocking offensive line or overall offensive line stat. If the Patriots are not 32nd, it's wrong. If the Pats aren't 32nd, it's wrong. Okay, Ryan, Matt Gay.
They're 30, but Pittsburgh 31, the Giants 32.
Wrong. Matt Gay outscores all Colts running backs, receivers, and tight ends against Cleveland.
Yep. Hey, Gabe said he wanted respect on the Cleveland defense. I precogged that.
I love how that's the talking point.
I figured it co-signed what Josh said about Pittman, so I wanted to stick with that one.
Great. Raheem Mostert scores just 1 touchdown this week.
I was right last time.
Not willing to say none, just 1 in the no touchdown.
I thought it was hilarious though because that clip that we cut was you saying that Pacheco and Mostert would combine for 5 touchdowns.
And this motherfucker Isaiah Pacheco.
If you would just flip that to say Mostert scores your 2 touchdown special, you'd have hit it.
Yep. He was my other option. So
there you go. No touchdown special, Sam Laporta in Baltimore. Quote, "You wanted to say Hunter Henry, but it seems too obvious. If you put Hunter Henry as a downside, I would have kicked you off the show."
I kind of figured.
Yeah, that's just insane.
I found this interesting. Only 6 fantasy players, flex, not quarterbacks, have scored 10 plus fantasy points against the Browns this season. Joe Mixon back in week 1. Jalen Warren pulled one off. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk in that same game. Pickens had a big game. Andrews had a big game. So they've given up some fluky games. I don't see a fluky game happening when you have Gardner Minshew turning the ball over 4 times last week. Matt Gay has actually scored 10 or more fantasy points 3 times this season. So he's on pace with what the Browns give up. And the Browns still actually give up bottom 10 points to every position. So like I said, I'm just doing Gabe justice here, giving them the respect they deserve. And I just don't see anybody from the Colts getting loose in this game.
Fair. Mine, I got Bijan inside the top 16 against Tampa. The run defense is still good. Like they still can play well against the run. Through the air, good questions, but they still play well against the run. The Patriots are sacked 5+ times and turn the ball over 3+ times against Buffalo. That might be conservative. I'm going to be honest with you. That very well might be conservative. They have 20 guys on their injury report right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Insane. Absolutely insane. And this is me pulling the same shit that I pulled when the 3rd string running back for Atlanta came in against Carolina way back when. You guys remember that guy? It was pre-COVID, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. You were big against Dearness Johnson as well.
Dearness Johnson when he came in. But who the fuck was the guy in Atlanta? Everybody was Brian Turner, something like that. Everybody was hyping him up because I forget who it was, but I believe it was 2019 against Carolina. Might have been 2021 against Carolina. But Brian Hill. Remember that?
I do remember that.
33 yards?
I can't see the actual game right now. My apologies. I went and looked at their full year statistics.
So the reason I'm bringing this up is because there is a guy by the name of Zach Evans this week. And while I am I'm not against Zach Evans for maybe in the future, but at this point in time, not the biggest Zach Evans guy, to say the least. So don't go out and kind of go crazy with that. it's a little just buyer beware. Like if you went out and picked him up, great. Like if Kieran's hurt for longer.
15 carries for 30 yards, Joe. He did redeem himself later in that season. 9 carries for 62 yards and a touchdown 5 weeks later. But the game you're talking about, 15 carries, 30 yards.
Like, I'm not saying Zach Evans is going to do that. I think Zach Evans maybe has a better time. The offensive line for the Rams isn't terrible, but Pittsburgh's front 7 is where they're good. So I'm not there for it. Just don't go in thinking like Zach Evans is going to take over for Kieran Williams, because Kieran Williams came out of nowhere. Kieran Williams is much better than Zach Evans. It's
Royce
plain
Freeman's
simple.
going to be the one that has a better game than Zach Evans, because Royce Freeman will be on the field because he can pass block.
And he will, yes, and he can catch.
Daryl Henderson knows the offense, so he may end up.
That's assuming that he gets promoted from the.
Yeah, he has to get elevated. All right, let us go through these downsides. D's nuts trade away to. This is interesting. Zay Flowers, Nico Collins, Garrett Wilson, Michael Pittman. What are you trading for them? I wouldn't trade.
I was going to say,
are you getting Christian McCaffrey?
I'm trading the last 2, but I want something good back. I like Michael Pittman a lot, but Nico Collins and Zay Flowers are the better options right now. So I'm trading the last 2, get something good.
Yeah, use the name values.
Yep.
That's what I would do. People know Michael Pittman. People know Garrett Wilson. Try to trade those guys and hang on to Zay Flowers and Nico. And that's the thing. Around this time of year, people will tend to forget about overall production. They're just looking at the names that they know and recognize.
Yep. No, Javit. Since the Broncos are playing the Browns, see if the boom. Oh, was this just talking over?
The Aaron Jones trade.
So we're asking for a bundle for Devonta Smith. If you can get Aaron Jones and Devonta Smith for Nico Collins, fuck yeah. I don't think you're gonna, but if you can, yeah.
Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was.
No, this was the Aaron Jones Nico Collins trade. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Oh, you have Devonta Smith. Do not combo Devonta Smith and Nico Collins for Aaron Jones. Do like Nico Collins for Aaron Jones straight up.
Oh no, I think they're saying go get a better player.
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah, bundled. You're also probably never playing Devonta Smith with the lineup you have, so you're set. You're chilling. Dylan, 12-team full PPR. Trying to upgrade wide receiver 1/2 or RB2. Currently sitting with Christian McCaffrey, James Cook at 1-2, and then receivers. You're looking at Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, Brandon Ayuk, Zay Flowers, Elijah Moore. I would look to get your receivers better before your running backs. Christian McCaffrey can carry your team. That's not an issue.
I like the Olave Cook for Diggs trade. I think that's a good trade.
Yeah, if you can move Olave and Cook for Diggs, do that in a heartbeat.
Yep.
You can start Jerome Ford. I think Rashawn Johnson is going to start popping soon. And now you're starting Diggs. You all of a sudden get to move Waddle to your wide receiver 2 where he belongs. You have your choice of wide receiver 3/flex with Ayuk and Flowers. That's how you want your team to look.
Yep. Michael Mayer or Logan Thomas this week, tight end king.
I am so people have been calling me out on this on my DMs. I am so nervous about Logan Thomas because he choked against a very good defense that should have given up more points. Do I have Mayer ahead? No, I still have Logan Thomas ahead of Mayer. But I'm nervous about it, plain and simple.
Josh.
I hope Mayer's trending up. I hope. It's a one spike week, so it's really hard to trust that concept.
I will throw out there too.
It is a good matchup, I'll say that.
The majority of his production came with Garoppolo in a quarterback. I don't think Brian Hoyer really looked at him. So that's that's why I do not like Mayer this week, is because I don't know what he looks like with Brian Hoyer. That's all I'm worried about.
Yeah, I think I would still stick with Logan Thomas this week.
He's getting looked at.
I saw somebody post a clip from a press conference where somebody was talking to him about how Logan Thomas was getting all these targets and then literally had like one target the entire game the next week. So I don't know what that had anything to do with it, or if it did, or if it was just pure coincidence, but maybe Logan Thomas gets going this week. So,
or maybe Atlanta recognized their weakness and just worked very hard to cover that up. The Giants' weakness is everything. So I don't think we need to worry about.
Yes, correct. Which clearly the Bills could not exploit by only winning by 5 points. So And if the Giants actually had decent clock management, they actually could have just set up for a field goal to win that game. So shout out Brian Dable and Tyrod Taylor. Final question. What should you look to get for CeeDee Lamb? Got to be an RB1 or higher.
Yeah, and look, like Josh was mentioning, use the name recognition. Go get a RB1. Go get DeAndre Swift. But get a wide receiver back. Attack the Nico Collins manager. They're not putting respect on Nico Collins' name. So I think someone would consider Swift and Collins for CeeDee Lamb, and that's a ludicrous trade for the person getting Swift and Collins. So
you just got to hope that guy has Swift and Collins.
You could even throw like a Drake London in there as well.
Yeah, that's fun.
Seeing a lot of targets,
Yeah, or Michael Pittman. People are afraid. Targets
Drake
are there.
London.
10 targets a game for Pittman.
But basically, that's kind of the range that you would be looking at, like those types of wide receivers, like
a real running back and a sketchy wide receiver.
Well, we'll say sketchy based on name recognition, but production being like top 15.
Yeah.
This is an interesting foresight trade. Trading Tyler Algier and Logan Thomas for Luke Musgrave and Tajay Spears for the chance Henry gets traded.
Make that trade anyway. This has nothing to do with trade. Tajay Spears, me and Josh have been talking about this a lot. Tajay Spears may be the starting running back for the Titans, whether or not Henry gets traded, just because he has the fresh legs and he is running his ass off when he plays.
Looks good.
And Luke Musgrave, you got to get him before this week. I think he pops this week, and I think he's not going to be tradable after this.
Josh.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with it. I mean, I don't know that I fully trust the tight end in a Green Bay offense, but Musgrave is still getting some targets. I don't know once they get Watson up to speed if that's going to take away from that, but they haven't really been throwing to Aaron Jones either, so maybe Musgrave will still be serviceable. But at the end of the day, I want Tajay Spears, so I'm going to do that trade just for him.
Are you trading Spears for Algier? Yes. Like your tight ends are a wash at this point.
I want both of the. Like I said, I want the Musgrave Spears side on both sides of it.
I agree. I like Musgraves this week. Do you think Zach Evans is going to be the starter? McVay said today that he doesn't feel sees like the starter. All of them have the same opportunity. Yeah, we quickly touched on it. If you were here, they're all going to get their share.
Yep. 7 to 10 carries each, depending on how big of a blowout the game is. So.
Yeah. Trade Kupp for Thielen and Jacobs. Wide receivers are Devontae, Ayuk, Lockett, T. Higgins. Running backs are Monty, Achane, Sanders, and Pierce. So really needs running backs, considering Monty's hurt, Sanders is hurt, Achane's hurt, and Dameon Pierce has been bad. He's 1-5, so looking to.
If you're 1-5, I feel like you make the trade. But here's the thing: you're 1-5. You didn't have Cooper Kupp for 4 of those games. It was your one win with Cooper Kupp in your lineup. Like, I think Cooper Kupp hides your deficiencies at running back. However, if Thielen's going to keep doing what Thielen's doing, Thielen and Jacobs is the better side of this trade.
Correct. There's not much more I can add to that. Go get Thielen and Jacobs. I don't love giving up Cooper Kupp, but you're still getting right now a top 5 wide receiver, and you're getting a very good running back who's getting.
You have no starting running backs right now.
Yeah.
Like every guy you mentioned, with the exception of Dameon Pierce, is hurt, and Dameon Pierce isn't playing this week. So.
Adam Thielen's back hurts so much from trying to keep the Bears away from the first 2 draft picks in the NFL draft in 2024. His back hurts so much. Trade DK for Olave, Ryan.
Why not?
Right, Josh.
I don't hate it. I'd rather have DK. Make that offense better.
I think Derek Carr is more prone to bigger games than the Seattle offense is.
If you like one better than the other, go make it.
Yeah, that's to me it's a wash.
Player.
It's a wash. Caesar ranked these tight ends this week. Taysom Hill, we're not ranking him. Njoku, Pat Fryermuth, Michael Mayer. Ryan.
Hill would be the top of my list.
Move Pat Fryermuth to the front, because the Rams give up a ton of tight end touchdowns. So move Fryermuth to the front. If he's healthy, it's Fryermuth, Hill, and Njoku, Mayer.
Josh.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I get if you wouldn't trust Hill, but with Juwan Johnson out last week, he did pretty damn good. So
he used him like an actual tight end.
Exactly.
Ryan,
and they'll use him the same way this week against the Jacksonville team that gives up points to the tight end. So
he says Musgrave is also available on waivers.
Oh, go get Musgrave, without a doubt. Stream of the week. You'll find out in a second.
There you go. Gibbs or Pacheco? Doesn't this question kind of get answered for you if Gibbs doesn't play?
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't. And now Pacheco's due for 2 touchdowns.
He's lined up. Lined up. Trying to get Bijan, needs a tight end, so I'm giving him Goddard. He already has Waller. Would you do Pittman, Wilson, and Goddard for Bijan? Holy God, that's way too much.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, not making that trade.
that
If you were saying Goddard for Bijan straight up, sure.
Yeah.
Goddard and one of those wide receivers for Bijan is fine.
And I would prefer Waller and one of those wide receivers if he's buying into the name recognition.
Yeah, that's a lot. He says he doesn't have any true studs, just crazy depth. It's a 14-man league. Yeah, don't do that trade.
No.
Do not do that trade.
Wide receivers are just scoring so much more points than running backs this year. So
yes.
Yeah.
Olave and Cook for Chase? Yes.
100%. I don't even know which Cook that is, but the answer is yes. It could be.
I don't care. It could be both Cooks. It could be the whole damn family of Cooks.
I'd say it could be both Cooks and Brandon Cooks, and the answer is yes.
It could be the whole kitchen. Doesn't matter.
Ooh.
Thank you. He says he's 6-0. Yeah, make the fucking trade for Jamar Chase.
Yeah, it's a big win.
Build a dynasty team and redraft.
How about this?
Do it, baby.
How about this? His team will be, after the trade, Tua, Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Dallas Goedert.
Congrats on your championship.
Right? Jesus. George.
Hey.
Bravo, buddy. Bravo.
Go trade Justin Fields for another wide receiver or running back.
Yeah, just stick it to your fucking league at this point.
Yeah.
Run the table.
You have the better of the two running backs in Pittsburgh. You have the better of all the running backs in Chicago. Zach Evans trade to the fucking Kieran Williams owner. Yeah. And Jameson Williams catches a touchdown. Jason's trending upwards. Yeah, I mean, congratulations. Unless you pull a Ryan and go 13-1 and your one loss is the first round of the playoffs, then you're set.
Yeah, happens.
Yeah. Should I cut Craig Reynolds for Deonta Foreman? What a fucking question. Timeout.
Yeah. Welcome to week 7, baby.
Grapefruit, good to see you back in here. What a fucking question. No?
I would. I mean, they're both basically 1 to 2 week replacements, if that. Give me the guy that's on an offense that I know is going to run the football, and that's the Bears.
Sure. I mean, I don't think it does anything for you personally.
It doesn't matter. If you feel better having one on your roster than the other.
Either way, you're good at whatever guy you like better. That's who we support. He says he has to start a running back this week.
Okay,
if I'm worried about a running back this week,
I would go Deonta Foreman. If Ramondre Stevenson, the Patriots offense, can score on the ground, then I think Deonta Foreman can too.
Yep.
Should I trade? Yes.
100%.
You gotta read
Derrick Henry.
Oh.
What? No. Why would it? Okay.
Because we have podcast listeners that don't actually.
I know we have podcast listeners, and I will read the question, but it's funnier when I say should I trade and then say yes, because it's a very obvious one. Derrick Henry for Puka Nacua, or what about Henry, Metcalf, and Hubbard for Devontae Adams and Madison? Nope.
No, don't do the second trade. Go get Puka.
Go get Puka. Trade Derrick Henry.
Especially full PPR. Got to get Puka.
Yes, in a full PPR. 100%. His team is Jalen Hurts, Christian McCaffrey, Isaiah Pacheco, Derrick Henry, Metcalf, Watson, Sutton, Kelsey, Warren, Hubbard. So good all around. You're upgrading your wide receivers. Yeah, 100%. CMC carries your running back field. It literally doesn't. For teams that play hero RB and had a top 3 pick and they had 3 and the first 2 guys took Jefferson and Chase, you could have drafted Christian McCaffrey and never drafted another running back ever again in history because you could play hero RB. So, Brock, full PPR, trade Puka for Aaron Jones. No. You can start Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua every single week confidently.
Yep.
Do not be afraid that you have both of them.
Be happy with those 27 targets and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones.
This is one of the, I would feel more comfortable starting Puka and Cooper Kupp versus Chase and Higgins. And honestly, even Tyreek and Waddle
100%.
Or AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. I know for a fact those two are getting peppered.
Yep.
I don't know for a fact that those other duos will all in this.
Yeah, there's always one guy who can get left out in those other duos.
I don't feel that way with the Rams duo.
So excuse the injuries from Aaron Jones, but you said 27 targets a game, Ryan, between Puka and
the two of them. Yeah, that was me. Facetious.
Aaron Jones on the season
Yeah, I saw this.
has 20 targets and touches combined.
Yeah.
You want to keep Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp together. Evan traded Mixon, James Cook, Kendrick Osborne, KJ Osborne. Where did I get Kendrick from?
That's maybe what the K stands for.
For Puka and Barkley, is that lopsided?
Quite.
Yeah, heavily in your favor.
Yeah.
Heavily in your favor. You honestly could have traded Puka for all those three and it would be lopsided.
Yeah, if you didn't get Barkley back, you won this trade. The fact that you got Barkley is icing on the cake. So.
You got his second round pick, third round pick, maybe, depending the league, Barkley, and a top 5 fantasy asset right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You and against what is his name? Joe who? Ryan? Joe?
What?
Midson? You just made the fucking joke.
Oh my God. I was like, what are you talking about? Yes, Joe Midson.
God, Joe Midson. James Cook, who can't figure it the fuck out against the Giants defense, which though, shout out, hit his over on his player prop yardage, so made some money on that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Coming in now would have Burrow, Goff, KJ Osborne would be off the team. So it'd be Puka, hit Olave, Higgins, Deontay Johnson, Pittman. You have Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. Yeah, like
Go make that trade.
nice.
And a startable tight end in Mark Andrews. Yeah, go make that trade.
Nice.
Startable.
Like, hey, what do we say? Congratulations on your championship.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Hopefully you're not in the league with that other guy.
Yeah. Congratulations. All right, Ryan, stream of the week.
Week 7 streams of the week, all available in about 50% of ESPN leagues. We're going to start off with Sam Howell at quarterback. He's taking on the Giants. Giants are giving up 18 fantasy points per game to quarterbacks, but if you take out week 1 where they actually beat up on Dak Prescott, it's about 20 per game, and they've allowed multiple touchdowns in 2 of their last 3 games. Howell has been on fire lately. He is the QB4 over his last 4 games and averaging 25 points per game in that stretch. Obviously, I'm going with the rookie at tight end, Luke Musgrave, taking on the Denver Broncos. 7 targets in week 5 before they took that bye. Now he's going to be healthy after a week off and ready to beat up on a bad defense. Denver gives up the most points to tight ends. They just got torched by Travis Kelce, but they also gave up 60 yards to Tyler Conklin in week 5 and 85 yards and 2 touchdowns to Cole Kmet in week 4. Should be a big week for Musgrave. And I'm going to go with the Thursday night game. Give me Jacksonville against New Orleans. We know New Orleans is down offensive linemen. The Saints have allowed multiple sacks in every game this season. They've actually turned the ball over in 5 of 6 games, and in all 5 of those games, they gave up 8+ fantasy points. Jacksonville is the defense 8 right now. They've scored 8+ fantasy points in 4 of their 6 matchups with multiple turnovers in 5 of 6, including their last 3 games. Those are the week 7 streams of the week. Full article available tomorrow.
Ryan, I have to ask, where do the Raiders rank this week for you?
So I've been moving them up and down quite a bit because of how bad a defense they are. They did not make my stream list. I still, even with only 26 active defenses, I do not trust the Raiders. I have them as the defense at 18.
Interesting. Okay. I do like the Raiders. The Bears allow the 3rd most fantasy points,
Yes,
according to ESPN. And I play in a sack heavy league, so I'm banking Max Crosby
It's a good point.
Agent alive.
I haven't dug into defense as hard as I normally do at this point. I go through the streams. I've been up and down with the Raiders. They're just very, very hard to trust. But again, you're picking on Chicago, who gives up the most points to fantasy defenses. It's just really going to be how important are sacks in your leagues for sure, because I don't know if we're going to see Bagent turn the ball over a lot, but sack strip fumbles could change the format on that quite a bit. So.
I just think Crosby gets after him, and he's a rookie. He's not going to get rid of the ball quick.
Well, at the end of the day, how many times do you honestly think they're going to drop back to throw the football with
Exactly.
a Division III rookie quarterback?
I did Division 2.
Well,
I did that.
You know what I mean.
He set records, sir.
Yeah. So did Bailey Zappi. How's that working out for him?
To be honest,
first
the
off,
defensive matchups
fuck
this
Bill
week,
Still not starting, but
Yeah.
the defensive matchups this week, honestly, are really, really nice. I don't know that there's going to be a bad choice at defense as long as you stay away from those like truly bottom tier teams like the Patriots.
Yeah, I have the Commanders against the Giants. I'm cautiously excited for it
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
because the Commanders.
I'm looking at my rankings right now. I am willing, because I'm willing to start the Raiders. I'm willing to go. I just moved them up a rank. I'm willing to go all the way to defense 17 and start any of these guys in a week where there are only 26 teams. So there are truly 10 defenses that I'm not willing to start this week. Everybody else, fire them up.
And there's definitely going to be a lot of teams, I imagine, managers that have Dallas, the Jets, or Houston that
exactly.
are
They have to go to waivers this week.
They have to go to waivers. I had Houston. I had the Raiders just behind them. But yeah, there's a lot of teams with Dallas especially that are going to have to look for waivers, and there's a lot of good teams out there this week. Anything else, gentlemen?
I think that does it. This was a fun show.
Yeah, a lot of questions this week. Love that.
Yeah, we should just say 75 minutes from now on because
we never hit an hour after like week 3.
On Wednesday night, I'm so good with that. On Monday, when Josh and I are trying to get everything done and it takes an hour and a half, I want to shoot myself after the damn show.
Whoa. Yeah, it's first off, thank you everybody. If you didn't get your questions in, if you're just trying to remember, we do start at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you can't get there in time, you missed the live show. Feel free to message us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. Also starts a different day on Saturdays. So
you can also drop your questions in the YouTube chat after it airs.
Yeah,
we always answer those questions as well. So don't be shy.
But if you want them live and animated, I recommend starts a different day for you. As one user and viewer said last week, go off, Joe. You're on fire. So if you want to see me literally unscripted, it's insane.
Joe loves him some Joe.
Absolutely insane. Last quick 2, trade Montgomery and Jamar Chase for Tyreek and JT.
If you're getting Tyreek, you win.
Gosh.
Oh man, that's God. My love for Jamar Chase. This is being tested, but yeah, it's kind of hard to not want Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek and JT is going to get better. So yeah, I'm good with that. Start Zach Evans, Zach Moss, or whoever starts for the Bears this week at running back. Ryan.
If you get Roshan, I'm playing Roshan of this bunch. Otherwise, I'd go Zach Evans.
Josh.
I would go Zach Moss. I don't really. I mean, yeah, the matchup sucks, but they're going to run the football. After watching Gardner Minshew throw for 3 turnovers last week,
that's fair.
They're going to run the football all game long.
I'm bound to break
one of them. He's 3rd in the league in rushing. So
I'll say I'm resigned to be wrong about Zach Moss this whole season, but I love JT too much. They went to a 50-50 split last week, and I think we see that start to shift a little bit more towards JT this week.
If you have Roshan and he plays, I love Roshan. If Roshan's out and Deonta Foreman's there, I'm good with Deonta Foreman. I already gave my piece on Zach Evans. I really don't think it's going to be a good game for LA on the ground. So, and I don't like Zach Moss this week. So I'm going with the Bears running back. If Foreman's not available, you don't have any of those guys, which I imagine they're available because you're asking, then go Zach Evans. I really don't like Zach Moss. I think Cleveland holds him in check. So I don't know. I'm in Indianapolis Colts country now, so got to hate him even more. No, we'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. If you didn't get your question in, please remember, starts a different day, 11 a.m. Eastern, Saturday. I will see you there. Is TBD or we have people?
No, we have Queen Roxanne, one of our contributors with Club Fantasy, and Bonnie Robinson from Fantasy Pros going to be joining us.
Oh my God, it is going to be Joe surrounded by women.
Yeah, and you and Roxanne back together again. There's going to be so much IDP talk.
Yeah, I can't wait. Am I going to tone it down because there's 3 women on the stream?
Absolutely.
Fuck no, absolutely not. not even a little bit. Might even get more feisty. All right. I believe in equality. Let's get even more feisty. Right. I believe in equality. For Josh, Ryan, myself, you can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. Always remember, defense wins championships. Offense wins fantasy football. We will see you next week.